Ugh. All right, good morning, folks. I just wanted to give people a second here to join for the deck tech so I didn't have to repeat myself a whole bunch because I'm playing something that's a little bit weird this morning. So first off, Egget, thank you very much for resubscribing. I appreciate your continued support, and keep up doing what you're doing for D&T as well. Number two, I also want to thank one of the Discord users who goes by the handle Darkview. He donated to have me do a bonus league. I'm going to be playing his idea tomorrow night. So this is kind of like the bonus league time slot, but I'll be actually playing the sort of conceptual deck list he suggested tomorrow night. So let's look at this deck list. There's a lot of weird things about it. So a while back, I kind of brewed up this idea. What if we approach the check pile matchup by having a large number of unkillable or difficult to kill creatures? Rather than trying to like grind them out in other means with like planeswalkers or shutting them out of the game with Cataclysm, what if we just make it so they can't kill our stuff? So Auriok Champion is pretty much only vulnerable to Toxic Deluge and Edict effects from their deck because it has protection from both black and red. Mirran Crusader is vulnerable to Lightning Bolt in addition to those things, but is still very difficult to kill. So we have 8 borderline unkillable threats and 6 threats that we can protect with Karakas. We've cut the Stoneforge Mystic package from this deck in order to play Honor of the Pure. So the idea is we stick an unkillable threat, we make it a little bit bigger, and we just ride that to victory. Preferably multiple of these so that we can play around edicts. And that's kind of an alternative idea for how we can go and approach the check pile matchup. A lot of people have been unimpressed by... Also no. A lot of people recently have been unimpressed by the Stoneforge Mystic package. So this is just kind of like one way to try out alternate ways at like getting similar amounts of card advantage like Stoneforge Mystic gives us. So if kind of like one of the reasons we want the Stoneforge Mystic package in the check pile matchup is like we want Sword of Fire and Ice so that we can go and get through annoying things like Baleful Strix, well, these can go and get through like the Leovolds and the Baleful Strix and Deathrite Shaman of the world without any difficulty as well. So this deck is going to be a little bit closer to like traditional white weenie or mono white aggro than normal D&T is. I have just cut the ports from the deck for more pure white sources so that I can actually play Auriok Champion on turn 2, and so that I have a better chance at just like slamming Honor of the Pure as well. I didn't sit down and do the math for like how many white sources I needed to get white on turn 2. I imagine I went a little overboard in that regard, and I actually probably played one or two too many basics. But I just want to see what it feels like curving out like Auriok Champion into Mirran Crusader and things of that nature in these matchups. And so to do that, I just want to make my mana as optimal as possible. If it looks like this idea has promise, then I'll do some real tweaking. Generally speaking, I think right now playing enchantments is an absolute great way to attack the format. I am not sure if this version is supposed to use Honor of the Pure, or if it's supposed to use some auras, since these are so difficult to remove. So for example, it's possible that something like, what is it? Trial of Gideon, or Ordeal of Gideon, I think it's called. The like white and 1 colorless enchantment where whenever a creature attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and when that creature has 3 counters on it, you sacrifice it, and then you gain 10 life. It's possible something like that might be better, because it still makes your creatures bigger for like the check pile matchup, and it has the random upside of gaining you 10 life in a Delver matchup. Not sure exactly. Surprisingly, there aren't as many good enchantments as you would imagine in just white. Like as far as auras go, it's kind of that or Gift of Orzhova. which is 3 mana to give your creature, I think it's like +1/+1 flying and lifelink. Those are about your best options as far as like auras go, so I didn't really want to explore that. There are a couple of kind of neat, I should say, I guess, cute combos in the main deck here. So Honor of the Pure works really well with Brimaz, because Brimaz then starts creating 2/2 tokens instead. So Brimaz itself will be a 4/5 creature that is creating a 2/2 creature every turn. That's pretty good. And Brimaz is also cute with Auriok Champion, where it gets to go and every time Brimaz attacks, you get to gain a life. So you're not only getting another body, you're also getting another life as well. I think 23 lands, no ports is a bit too much. Without Port or Stoneforge Mystic, we have no mana sinks left. Yeah, you're probably right. I should probably drop down 1 or 2 lands. I'll agree with that. Let me run through what I'm doing in the sideboard, and then I'll throw one other random creature in the main deck to round it out. I'll start thinking about what that should be. So if our sideboard is geared to beat things like check pile, then that means we need fewer sideboard cards for them. So my sideboard is a little more geared at beating sort of like combo decks than normal. So because my main deck is a little more specialized already, I found room for some mind break traps so that if we run into things like Ant, Tess, Belcher, that would go and like normally mess with us a little bit, then we have a little bit more game against them. So I think this is a viable strategy. Like, since this is already more specialized, we don't need as many general sideboard slots. So playing something that's a little more specialized in the sideboard makes a lot of sense to me. Horizon Canopy is a good cheat land. Yeah, I agree with that. How many do I have? I have 1. So cut 1 Plains for 1 Horizon Canopy. I like that. And I might even just, like, even trim 1 land and go down another creature. Like, I wouldn't hate having something like a Serra Avenger in this deck. Or like a Wingmare or Fiendslayer Paladin would kind of be thematically on point as well. Let me think. Go down 1 land. 22. What is this deck missing? I only have 4 flyers. The answer should probably be a flyer. I play a Selfless Spirit. That card has been way better than it looked in testing. Plus, it's kind of still aggressive to go with the whole, like, Honor of the Pure theme as well. Although, if we're kind of planning on all of these creatures being unkillable, then how much does it actually do? Maybe that should be just like a main deck or Aethersworn Canonist or some other card that hates on combo. Maybe that should just be a Vryn Wingmare, actually. Yeah, that's good. Like, we have 13 turn 2 plays. That's pretty great. Alright, I'm just going to kind of, like, run this through a league and see how this goes. I'm intending to play for not quite 2 hours, and anything I don't finish now, I'm going to go ahead and finish this evening. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. I'm interested very much conceptually in the idea that I've got here. I don't really know that the deck list is optimal, but I think it is a direction worth exploring. Assuming that nothing gets banned tomorrow and just, like, totally throws off the metagame. But that's a discussion to happen tomorrow. Alright. Opponent well-known Miracles player. Unfortunately, this deck is not geared specifically to beat Miracles. It's like we're not hedging against white removal, we're hedging against other things. But so be it. This has a Mom, this has a threat protectable via Caracas. This isn't the best hand for this matchup, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it. I think in 2 draws I have a pretty decent chance of drawing a 2-drop, in which case this hand becomes pretty good. That is a portent targeting themselves for reference, not me. We're not at that stage of the game yet. Oh, thank you very much for the auto host. I feel like within the next turn or two here, I'm just going to be throwing a creature into a Terminus. So I think the least valuable creature here right now is just the Flicker Wisp. So I'm just going to go ahead and play that out. I don't exactly want to commit another creature to the board. So I'm going to do the whole like Flicker Wisp chain where I like Flicker Wisp my Flicker Wisps for a while and just kind of keep one phased out at all times. If my opponent just like brainstorms and gets the 3-for-1 with the Terminus here, like, so be it. But if they only can draw a card at sorcery speed, then I kind of get them. Alright. So be it. Morning, Barbara. We're playing an interesting pile today. Which reminds me that I should probably put the deck list below the stream. Because it's weird. Okay, deck list is now below the stream, although you might have to refresh the page in order to see that. Now we're just going to be nice and locked under this Jace for a little while, and then I'll probably concede. Oh, neat. While I was F6, my opponent got a swamp. That explains the swamp. Well, this is probably about the point where I can concede. Between these two planeswalkers, I think I'm just going to get like absolutely outvalued out of this game. That's a good draw though, because that means I can deploy 2 threats, and then Jace can't answer both. But I'm 1 terminus away from just being real sad and probably never having a chance to get back in this game. So essentially, Kaya is a similar level of card advantage to Jace, 2 out of every 3 turns, because you can go minus and essentially like get 2 cards, right? Because they draw a card and I discard a card, and then you go, or sorry, I guess it's every other turn since it's a -2. Yeah, so every other turn you get the 2 for 1. And sorry, to just finish that thought in case you're not familiar with this card, it then like gets to exile itself and like reset its loyalty, or in this case just like protect itself from Thalia. So my opponent loses 2 life to essentially give Thalia summoning sickness so it can't finish off these planeswalkers. So Lord Darkview, this is our first match with it. So literal 0 data yet. All right, Vial is a great draw. It'll probably get forced. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Spirit first because the Vial is probably more important. Yep. All right, that's good. That's good. We can stop here. Alright, so I'll bring in a few attrition-based cards and board out Swords to Plowshares. This is a matchup where a lot of my cards aren't going to feel particularly good because the Auriok Champions and such that are meant to just, like, be a house against check pile are very poor here. Like, they are just 1/1s with almost no other text in this matchup. Although I guess they have protection from Kaya for what that's worth. They're in fact so bad that I would consider leaving in some number of Swords to Plowshares over them. And I guess I've ordered in 5, so I can cut 1 of these. But I think I'd rather just keep a large number of bodies, even if the bodies are poor. In anticipation of my opponent having some annoying enchantment, I might board in the Relic Warder over one of them, just because a generic 2/2 is better than a generic 1/1. Sure, like this isn't a deck geared to beat miracles, though, right? Like this is a deck to beat other control decks of the format. So we don't want to like play something like Armageddon, because I think our main deck is already so built to beat a lot of those sorts of decks. And this hand is great. Like it has double Vial, it has an awesome curve off of Vial that like Mom, Nathalia into Prelate. I can't ask for too much more beyond that. So the equipment package is one of the best tools for D&T versus Miracles, and since we don't have that, the matchup is grim, and it was already pretty bad to start with. That's just a check for a Containment Priest. Predict target me. You bet. And for anyone who's curious, like it's those exact situations why I play a split of plains and snow-covered plains over anything else. I'm not going to attack in with the Prelate in case my opponent has a Snapcaster Mage. Alright. That was not something I was playing around. I guess I want to sacrifice my Flicker Wisp. No, I don't want to ditch my Thalia in case I draw Caracas. It's also potentially keeping my opponent from sacking some, or playing some Planeswalkers. Alright, so now I have no ability to aggro out my opponent. Although it's now pretty obvious that not attacking with the Sanctum Prelate was very, very, very important last turn. I guess if I draw an Honor of the Pure, then Sanctum Prelate is bigger than Snapcaster Mage, and we can start getting there in that capacity. Alright, we'll just kind of pass the turn here. We're not going to Council's Judgment away a Snapcaster Mage just to push damage. That's not happening at this stage of the game. I expect my opponent to slam a Planeswalker this turn, now that the board is relatively stable. Definitely not feeling good about this now. Not that I was even just walking into the matchup because of the changes we made to this deck list, but so be it. Morning, Ken. Welcome. We are in our first match against Miracles. We are currently down a game, and this one is not looking particularly good either. Jeez. Jeez. Alright, this is what I get for not playing optimally by tipping my vial on 3 at first. Yeah, Barra, that's what I was just saying. Agreed. I had done a check for Containment Priest earlier, so I did not anticipate Esper Charm would be going into the equation. Guess I'll play around that for the rest of this game. Alright. Would really love to draw Honor of the Pure. Yeah, so Lord Darkview, I felt like I had to make a move there in order to just have any shot at winning the game. Because I'm really far behind now. Guess I'll take them off a double black, because maybe that matters. I'll play this out for a turn or two. Once my opponent shows me something else that matters, I'll go ahead and concede. I'm not getting out of this game. Alright, that's a start. Oh great, there's just Jace too. Alright, we're done here. We'll give up this one. My original version of the deck wasn't good against Miracles, and then my opponent's version of the deck was much better against D&T than normal Miracles due to all of those black cards. That was pretty brutal. Alright, so for anyone who tuned in, essentially what I'm trying today is a build with a whole bunch of unkillable creatures as a way to, like, approach the Grixis Delver and check pile matchups. So we're playing Auriok Champion and Mirran Crusader, which are very, very, very difficult to remove for those decks, alongside a couple copies of Brimaz, which are also relatively difficult to remove, especially with Karakas backup. So there are a couple of little cute combos. Auriok Champion and Brimaz work together to, like, gain a decent amount of life over a few turns, and Brimaz works together with Honor of the Pure in order to create 2/2 tokens. So there's some cute synergy here. As we saw there, though, when we play against the wrong sort of decks, the hedges that I've made here don't necessarily feel good. This guy is the reason I'm considering buying into Legacy again. I'm glad to influence your bad decisions. That makes me happy. Legacy is a great format. You can do a lot of really, really powerful and neat things. If you're interested in like the sorts of brews that I've been playing here, and you're not familiar with Bahra's channel, he's also in the chat, spelled Bahra with an underscore. I highly recommend his channel as well. He's been doing some pretty neat things. Do I have a copy of it? No, I don't have a copy of it up. Essentially, he's been testing a Hallowed Spirit Keeper build that tries to like sacrifice Hallowed Spirit Keeper to go and create a whole bunch of tokens, and that's been really fun to watch. So I recommend that as well. So hopefully I'll get paired against like some Grixis decks of some combination, online or in paper. Why not both? I mean, if you're gonna make a bad decision, why not go like full tilt? Please pair me. I would just like to play some Magic, sir. I guess it's not really a sir, it's more of a robot. But whatever. Come on, Mr. Algorithm. There we go. Well, my opponent's name is Empty the Warrens. They have no legacy finishes. This is not an amazing hand, but it has tools for different matchups in this cute combo. So I'll keep it and hope that they're actually not a Storm deck. I feel like that's misdirection. Alright. We're probably going to get to play against the sort of deck that I want to be playing against here. We are snap removing that Deathrite Shaman because that card is too good. Alright, double Delver after a Deathrite Shaman. That's a pretty great opening. I really hope my opponent doesn't have Brainstorm here. If they have Brainstorm and they get to just, like, flip both of these Delvers this turn, I am in trouble. Oh great, just naturally flip them, of course. They also had the Brainstorm and didn't use it, or drew the Brainstorm for turn. If they had the Brainstorm and didn't use it, that seems like a mistake, so I feel like they probably drew the Brainstorm for turn. Like, there's absolutely no way that you don't just, like, slam Brainstorm during your upkeep to flip those things if you have the opportunity to do so. If you are looking to get better as a player, buying in on Moto is one of the best things that you can possibly do. Alright, my opponent basically had the perfects this game. With like double Delver and Deathrite and both Delvers naturally flipping. And double bolt and second red source for another bolt. But we were going to flood out. Otherwise, like, I felt I was in a fine position to start taking over that game. Alright, so what do I have to bring in? I have paths to bring in. Maybe Council's Judgment. Maybe Rest in Peace. I'll want to board Spirit of the Labyrinth out. I might board the Recruiters out with this version. I don't know, the Recruiters do well with like the Auriok Champion life gain portion of the deck. But so does like the Brimaz and everything, so maybe that's fine. So to answer your question about grinding and like increasing your collection, so I bought into mono white D&T last year. I then got all of the cards for like red white D&T, splash D&T, any sort of like D&T variation I wanted to play. And right now I'm sitting on like an extra 80 tickets, and each one of these is probably worth about 3 tickets. I don't know exactly at this exact moment, but like, you know, I probably have, you know, $600, $700, $800 worth of like just like extra events and tickets right here, in addition to a whole bunch of other stuff that I've already just bought. Yes, so very, very, very much you can grind cards. Other than like buying my Moto account, like the set $20 fee to make an account, and the cost of my deck, I've not put a penny into Moto. All right, if this vial resolves, this hand is going to be pretty good. I'll need a third land for this Council's Judgment, and I would like to draw a piece of spot removal. But you almost never throw back vial hands. So I am A-okay playing Honor of the Pure into a Daze. My opponent, nope. So on my next turn, I'm probably going to do something interesting where, in response to my own Ether Vial trigger, I vial in the second Mom. That way I can kind of like use the vial on 1 and then use the vial on 3 the next turn. Just kind of following along what's going on in chat here. One of the things about Pauper, though, is that it is a relatively competitive format because it is cheap and a way to grind tickets. Ooh, chat, this is gonna feel good. Watch this, chat. All block. My mom lives. You die a death of shame. Well, I'm holding control to hold priority so that I can respond to my own thing, but that didn't happen. So yes, I'll take that up and I'll just cast this mom. And it gets forced and I get punished. Moto, quality program, ladies and gentlemen. Although, since I don't really need the second mom, it's not like it's that punished. If they had a daze, they'd probably pitch the daze last turn. It's possible that I should just, like, cast my Auriok Champion here. And then, like, just flicker out their young Pyromancer. Use it to gain a couple of life. And then just Council's Judgment away on the next turn to give myself the flexibility to answer a Gurmag Angler if that hits play instead. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, Lord Darky, that's the whole idea here, right? Like, in addition to, like, Champion just being good against young Pyromancer, generally speaking, and even better against the second young Pyromancer, it's also just very difficult to remove. I'm going to do some stuff pre-combat here, since them making elementals doesn't matter. They're just F6'd. Oh man, what do I even sacrifice here? Honestly, it might be the mom. Because I have my opponent dead in 2 turns with board. So my opponent played a land this turn? No. Yeah, I think I let my mom go. And then just kill them over the course of 2 to 3 turns if they gain life with Deathrite Shaman. Yeah. Phil, do you think they will pay any less attention to Moto since they introduced Arena? No, I think Moto and Arena are going to be 2 very, very different things for potentially years to come. I think we will still get all the support we need for this. Well, Woody, I'm glad you could catch me live here for a little while. I'm intending to stream for about another hour. Then I'm meeting up with a buddy to go to the gym, and if I don't finish this league in that hour, I'll go and finish it up this evening at some point. I'm selling my fish to finance online D&D. Alright, so if I attack in with this Thalia, my opponent can gang block with, like, at literally everything, and then kill it. No, and then not kill it, because this, I have 3 power first strike, so I could kill, like, Pyro, Token, just leave them with Deathrite Shaman, so they have to chump. Yeah, I know. I go to the gym sometimes so that I can get swole. Yeah. It's not working. This Auriok Champion is like comically good here. Well, to repeat myself, it's been like comically good in this matchup, right? Like I think it's gained me like 9-ish life this match. Or I should say this game. And it's borderline unkillable, although my opponent apparently has Diabolic Edicts. We'll see if that continues to be the trend, though, because in the previous round where we play against Miracles, like, it was just a 1-1 with no relevant abilities, right? I want to think about this hand for a second to decide how I want to sequence turn 1. I usually want to remove Deathrite Shaman on sight, but my opponent didn't play a fetch, so it's possible they might not have 3 mana. I think given that I have double Auriok Champion, I want to get these into play ASAP, and my best line here probably is just like land Vile, then remove one of their things while playing around Daze, then Vile in a champion, cast a champion, or Vile in second champion. I think the Vile is very important to my tempo here. Hey NBA, welcome to the stream. I don't really think my opponent has counter magic. They F6 my previous turn, and they're F6 this turn. So I think I'm just gonna resolve an Auriok Champion and start gaining life off their young Pyromancer. And then I gain the most life off of my own stuff as well. Because the next turn I can go, like, cast Auriok Champ, like, cast Swords to Plowshares, remove one of their cards. Swords to Plowshares, one of their cards, then Violin Thalia, or some combination thereof. Morning, Starstreak. And yeah, Bahra, I agree. The games that I have been playing have been of much higher quality in the past 1 to 2 months than the 1 to 2 months before that. I find myself playing against a lot of really strong players more frequently than I used to. Oh, that's sad. Bye, little buddy. Morning, Echo. Alright, so what am I going to do this turn? I think I care more about the Deathrite Shaman than the young Pyromancer. I feel like I've got that under control. So I'm probably going to Swords to Plowshares the young Pyromancer, cast Auriok Champion, then Violin Thalia so I gain the life off of it. Doing fine this morning, testing something a little bit weird. Ooh, my opponent is not F6'd now. And they've been F6 previous turns, so they might actually have a counterspell. So I'm going to go ahead and give up 1 life in order to play around the counterspell. Ban Basic Plains, unban Mox Pearl. That's a good prediction. That's probably happening. Okay, so in all seriousness, though, to answer that question, it is my expectation that nothing happens with this ban list update, but that the next ban list will give us a Deathrite Shaman ban. That is kind of what I expect. Why can't I click on this and say always yes now? I expect that Deathrite Shaman will be banned I have to be more speedy in clicking on that so I can actually get that to happen. I expect that Deathrite Shaman will get itself banned before the team event. Now that I have this Mirren Crusader... Alright, let's cast this Council Judgment and see if my opponent does actually have a counterspell. Might not even be good enough to get a counterspell if they have it. I'm thinking about it. There we go. And I'll probably just leave this Auriok Champion back. Council Judgment is a great card. Like, it's not always the best. It's not particularly good in this matchup, but it's fine. How does my opponent have so many Diabolic Edicts in their 75? Real questions. My opponent is probably asking, how does my opponent have so many Auriok Champions in their 75? Thoughts about Devout Lightcaster? Would you remind me which card that is? I feel like it has something to do with blowing up artifacts, but I just don't remember. White. Protection from black. When it enters the battlefield, exile target black permanent. I try not to play white cards. That's really hard to make work. I saw that was in someone's list from this week. I forget whose it was, but in one of the deck list dumps that appeared. Alright, I guess I can attack with the Mirren Crusader. I guess I can get frisky with both of these creatures. The Auriok Champion just gets through everything. And if my opponent has a Bolt, I can eat 2 tokens, try to protect Crusader with Mom, and then lose it to a Bolt. Do I even want to do that? I guess I still have like Mom and Champion at that point. If I do nothing, I'm just like losing ground to this Deathrite Shaman. So I think I'm okay with attacks. Oh, is that just gonna, like, work? Am I just gonna eat all of these? Yeah, I am. I don't think I have any reason to play this Plains out, so I'll just leave that in my hands, bluffing something like a Flicker Wisp. Oh, wow, opponent just has Stone Cold nothing. And they wanted me to not play around Bolt. Oh, fuck. What is my opponent's sideboard that they have room for Edict, Edict, Umezawa's Jitte, Forked Bolt, if that is not in the main already? I mean, I guess the good news is that, like, my board as is can wall the Jitte. And that helps too. I'm not going to play that now, I'm just going to keep that as a safety net. That's the best Stone Cold Nothing I've seen in a while. Ugh. Of course. Well, this feels terrible. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage plus 2 Jitte counters. Alright, well, I'm dead. Yeah. No. None. Even with draws that good, it's just not happening from that position. Yeah, I mean, Echo, my opponent sideboarded to beat D&T, and they did. Like, I'm obviously not playing around the random one of Umezawa's Jitte, but, like, I liked the lines that I took, and so be it. You know, from that match, you know, in practice we saw that Auriok Champion is pretty crazy good against Grixis Delver. Opponent having double Edict was unfortunate. Opponent having Jitte was more unfortunate. But, like, as far as deck design goes, you know, Auriok Champion is definitely, you know, something that I'll be considering in the future. We'll, see what happens in this next round here. Do I feel the 1/1 body is good enough? Coupled with playing the Honor of the Pures that I am playing, yes, I feel like the 1/1 body is good enough. Whether or not without Honor of the Pure it's actually big enough and enough of a threat, maybe not. But it does brick wall a lot of their aggression. And so, like, let's say they have a young Pyromancer and a flipped Delver. Their young Pyromancer becomes a liability. It would work well with equipment, but we're trying Honor of the Pure over that. Mark Koenig, Barbara, said that, you know, he doesn't particularly like the Stoneforge package right now because of the tempo loss associated with it and all of the main deck answers like Colligan's Command and Abrupt Decay that we're seeing for equipment right now. So I'm just experimenting with some other things. But yes, theoretically, this would work very well with equipment. Like this with a sort of like Fire and Ice or something on it would be just absolutely gross. Finally, queues have been taking forever this morning. I think my opponent plays Delver. I'm going to keep this hand. I'm in a little bit of trouble if the Vial doesn't resolve, but I'm on the play, so it has to be Force. So just for anyone only listening, thinking about building a version of the Gate as a secondary deck, something between the original design and yours, Phil, how do you feel it performs these days? Alright, well there's the Force I was scared of. It's still fine if I draw another land, but I lost a lot of tempo there. I do think there was something to the build that I was trying out. I think with a few changes, it is a viable tier 2 to 3 strategy. It will match up very, very, very favorably against some decks of the format. I would play more Lash Writhes than I played in the original version. That card was just insane every single time I drew it. Man, I hope this is like the brainstorm to try to find the force of will for Auriok Champion. Yeah, Lord Darkview, if you would just send me a message on like Discord to remind me to do that, I can do that later today. Alright, opponent does not have a lot of gas left. They're down to 3 cards. And the bad news for them is that if they just like stick something like a Gurmag Angler, that's not actually good enough. I have 3 pro-black creatures in my hand. And Mom that's active. And another Mom that's coming down afterwards. I'm going to gain a lot of life this game. What do I want now? I don't think it's the Honor of the Pure yet. I'm not in aggro mode yet. I think I just want to flop another Mom. Really get those shields up. Now I'll play the Honor of the Pure prior to the Thalia, just so I'm 100% sure that I can get it into play. My opponent also has plenty of mana, so that's not a bottleneck right now. I could also start attacking with Auriok Champion. So if I attack with Auriok Champion, I have my opponent dead in probably 7 turns because they end up fetching. And I can use my Moms to brick wall the current board pretty easily. I'll take some damage. But it might be fine to just flip the switch and start going aggro. I'm going to gain a lot of incidental life. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Attacking with the Gurmag Angler alone does nothing. That doesn't even give you a chance to get rid of a Mom. I'm threatening to get rid of these. Gotta be a bolt here, right? There just has to be. Yeah, there we go. My opponent just concedes. My opponent has had enough of my shit. Okay. Alright, so what did we do before? I think we did Spirit out, Recruiters out, 1 Crusader out. And that feels pretty good. Snatches sideboard angrily. How am I supposed to beat this Auriok Champion? We'll see if this opponent has infinite copies of a Diabolic Edict and Umezawa's Jitte. Otherwise, I feel pretty good. furiously inserts 8 edicts. We'll play the Diabolic Edicts. Then we'll play the Geth's Verdicts. That gets them. They lose life too for that one. Never mind how we'll make black. Morning Phil, what's the main board look like? Army of Thalia, I posted it below the stream today. I remembered after I started the stream. So it's there. Otherwise, I'll show it again after this match, and I'll just kind of quickly show it here. Essentially, it's the Auriok Champion build I was talking about before, where we try to play this and Mirren Crusader in the main deck as a way to hedge against the removal of like check pile and such. This has a Vial, this has a piece of removal, this has a Thalia. All things I'm looking for. I'll probably get super punished by not removing the Deathrite Shaman when my opponent just goes like True Name Nemesis turn 2. Nope, okay, good. Even though I have the Auriok Champions to draw to in this deck, since I don't have any of that at the moment, I think I'm going to go ahead and just remove the Young Pyromancer before that goes way wider than what I can deal with right now. And my opponent didn't shuffle with the Ponder, so hopefully I got rid of something they wanted as well. I'm flooding a little bit here. I can play the Caracas to protect Thalia, which I think is what I'm going to do, and then next turn I'll tick Vial up and use Horizon Canopy to draw a card. Joy. So that path is fine, but not amazing. It's unclear whether or not I want to use this on the Delver or the Deathrite Shaman yet. So I think I'm not going to play around Spell Pierce with it. because I think my opponent has probably boarded that out, and instead I'm just going to draw a card with Horizon Canopy first and try to use that to help me make that decision. Alright, so that means I want to point at the Deathrite Shaman. Although I messed up here, I should have waited until my opponent, like, drained me at the end step or something like that. For just this reason. What are you doing, opponent? What's the actual best version of D&T to run in the meta? I think there are strong merits to playing either the traditional red-white build or a mono-white build that's maxing out pretty heavily on Mirran Crusader. I think those are probably the best tuned and most well-balanced versions of D&T right now. I think well, like, statistically speaking, the Diabolic Edict. Yeah, sure. I think the mono white build is going to be much better against, say, Grixis Delver, but the red white deck is going to be significantly better against, like, Check Pile and Miracles. Ouch, Tyler, that's rough. Oh, geez, do you have Bolt as your last card? Just dagger me. The Deathrite Shaman represents more potential damage. Or, excuse me, the Delver represents more potential damage. The Deathrite represents more actual damage right now. I can trade with the Delver in combat, theoretically. I can't trade with the Deathrite Shaman in combat. I'm going to point this at the Deathrite Shaman. Do you think goblins will be tier 1 after the Deathrite Shaman Arc Trail? What are you doing? No, I don't think we're going to get the Deathrite Shaman ban until the next ban announcement. Despite how important I think that ban is, I don't think we're getting it tomorrow. I think we'll get it the next time around. I think they'll gather more data from, I think there's some sort of like team GP or something like that. Alright, opponent is not attacking with the Delver. So I'm going to play that game, and I'm just going to like hold cards in my hand and wait for them to attack with the Delver before vialing in my Flicker Wisp. Alright. So I made a minor misplay a couple turns back by like not waiting for my opponent to take an action, and I could have taken one more creature off the table, but given that like my next few cards were garbage, I would not have gotten there anyway. Tyler, we have three Honor of the Pures in the main deck. We're ready. We're ready for their Arc Trail. I watched Joe Lissette stream with it in Checkpile, and Marin was pretty good there. I don't know that it's necessary in Alurin, but I think it's a good fun of. Related, Tyler, do you have any interest in streaming nowish? I'm going to finish up this next game, and then I'm going to the gym, so I'd be happy to host you if you do. Womp womp. What are your thoughts on Mangara nowadays? It's a little bit slow. Like, it is still a perfectly reasonable card to play. It is a fine flex slot choice, but like Legacy has gotten much faster in the past, let's say like 2 years, and there's more removal than there used to be, so Mangara is a little bit less reliable than previously. I maybe even shouldn't cast this Flicker Wisp. So Woody, more generally, Medea is a character from Greek mythology. Princess of Colchis, an island out in the middle of nowhere, famous for marrying Jason of Jason and the Argonauts, and then eventually killing their sons. Powerful sorceress figure. I don't want to trade the Auriok Champion with the Delver. So I'll just pass the turn. Why isn't Cataclysm played more? Cataclysm's great. I am actually playing a Cataclysm deck tomorrow night, unless something gets banned that mixes up the format. Do I want to gain a life, or do I want to kill a token? I probably want to kill a token. I named him out of Batterskull. Did not have it. Did not have Batterskull. Do you have flagstones in that list? I do, Tyler. Tomorrow night's deck list is spicy. I'm excited for it. All right, I'm winning the race. I have double the life total of my opponent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Richmond. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also, how is that your first GP? Just humble brags. That confidence, though. I mean, that will be really nice to have a Learn and D&T in the top 8, though. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't travel as much as I would like to, Tyler. It's just because it's legitimately hard to when you have like real life responsibilities that don't allow you to take off Fridays. Or just like take off the entire weekend as well. Alright, how do I feel about trying to race now? So I attack in with both of these. I hit my opponent to 13. They essentially hit me for 11. Then I hit them for 6. And then I hit them for 6. Or no, then I probably hit them for 2. Racing may not be the most profitable thing in the world, but I'm going to gain a bunch of incidental life. This might be the time to try and turn the corner. Filing in this Mirror Crusader will gain me 2 life and eat an elemental token. Yeah. I don't know, he's used 2 bolts already. Let's see. So I can go up to 25 by playing the mom. I'm not exactly winning the race. Yeah, Tyler, that's why I said I'm not exactly winning the race. I'm close to winning the race. Is that Arc Trail? Alright, that is a large net negative for me in the race winning category. That also doesn't help. I might be forced to just continue attacking, unfortunately. So, I have my opponent on a 5-ish turn clock. And they have me on a 2-turn clock. Yeah, maybe I have to pump the brakes and just soak up some damage. I'll hold this Plains, though, to make it look like I have something. Like, putting on the brakes here makes it so much better if I draw, like, a removal spell for the Delver. Because the elementals themselves, I can beat that pretty easily. The good old pay a mana for the Gitaxian Probe. Gurmag Angler? Question mark. An Edict is rough. The jig is indeed up. Alright, and we're dead. I'm not going to be able to see what I would have drawn over the next couple of turns. Alright, so this didn't go well. I'll finish out the last 2 games of this evening, even though like I'm dead for prizes here, just to kind of like see what's going on with the deck list. The Auriok Champions were pretty good. They did a lot of work against Delver. Some things worked out unfortunately, but kind of like so be it there. Thank you all for joining in this morning. I'll be back this evening at some point to finish out the 2 matches. I'm just going to preview what I'm going to try out tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to try out something that looks like this. Essentially, I'm going to try a Cataclysm build of D&T where we just play Cataclysm in the main deck with the goal of sacrificing Hallowed Spirit Keeper to create an army, which is then pumped by Honor of the Pure. And that was my alarm to myself that I need to get going. And we're going to play like Dunes of the Dead and Flagstones so that I get like super value off of sacrificing things with Cataclysm. I don't know that this is good, but assuming that nothing gets like banned tomorrow that like super shakes up the format, this is what I'm going to try out just kind of for funsies. So I'll be seeing you all around tomorrow, or later this evening. Take care.